You got to accentuate the positive feeling. Eliminate the negative. Latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum. Bring gloom down to the minimum. Have faith. A pandemonium liable to walk upon the scene.
Welcome to Satari Self-Care Institute Radio. I am your host, Katrina Jones, Prosperity Life Coach of Satari Self-Care Institute. Now, today I'm by myself, but sometimes I will be with Wanda Miles, who is a radio personality, as well as Hasina Roach, who is a relational consultant. But today it's just me, and I want to talk about how affirmations have paved my path. I want to start off by talking about how I learned about affirmations. I've been doing affirmations now for about 15 years, and what I can remember is that there came a time in my life where I could hear spirit talking to me in ways that I had never heard before, and I was just guided to read certain materials. And although there were so many different authors that I would read their materials on spirituality, how to live a good life, positive thinking, Louise Hay is one of those people that stand out in my mind. She was one of the first authors that I read her materials about how to change my thinking and the power of affirmations and the power of positive thought. I would read material. I remember I would go to the library and I would get as many books as they would allow me. And sometimes I'd have 30 and 40 books that I'd take out the library and, read through and take them back and get more. So I can remember that. So fast forward to maybe about 10 years ago, I began to, or maybe anywhere between 8 to 10 years ago, I began to start purchasing God boxes. And I consider a God box to be a beautiful box that I can open up, that I can put my affirmations in. I have purchased these boxes from Dollar Tree. I have purchased these boxes from Pottery Barn, Joann Fabrics, Marshalls. So these boxes can range in price from $1 on up. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And I put my positive thoughts, I put my affirmations in. If something's going on in my life that is not positive, um, I will turn it around into a positive and place it in my box. And then I will look at it on an ongoing basis um, and affirm it, um, with the desire that this is the reality. This is my reality. And so about 8 years ago, I wanted to take a trip to London to attend a International Coach Federation conference. And I imagine that this conference had been going on, every year. And when I knew they were going to London, I wanted to go. So before they had even announced the date, I put my affirmation in my God box that I would be traveling to London for this conference and I would have a great time. Didn't know how I would do it, didn't know where the money would come from. And but I would affirm it, and I'd look at it every couple of days. I'm in my box, I'm affirming. And as it became closer to the time to take the trip, I still didn't know where the money was going to come from. And at some point, I started to take the affirmation out of my box. But then Spirit said, nope, just leave it in the box. And I did without knowing how this was going to happen. And I don't remember exactly the circumstances, but not only was I able to pay for my trip to London, I was able to pay for my mother's trip to London for the conference as well. And I believe the conference was 5 or 6 days. We ended up staying for 10 days. We were there a couple of days before the conference, and we were able to do some, sightseeing and touring and things of that nature. And then after the conference was over, we were able to stay a few more days, not to have to, rush back to the States. So that is one of the biggest manifestations that have happened in my life. Not the only, but, just one that is significant for me, that helped to solidify for me that affirmations work, that affirmations are real. Now, years before that, I can remember affirming, because this was not my first trip to Europe. I can remember wanting to go to Europe when I was in college. And I asked my mom, I says, Mom, I want to go to Europe and see the world. And in my mind, I was thinking, she probably is going to say no. But then I said, if she says no, I says, what's the worst that can happen? She can say no. So I'm going to ask. And I asked, I says, Mom, I want to go to Europe and see the world during spring break. I think I was a sophomore at the time. And she was like, okay. And, so I was very young then. And so I knew I had materialized that trip, but I didn't know how I had did it. And for years, would try to recreate that. But at some point, again, spirit began to talk to me, and I began to read materials, and I began to better understand the power of my thoughts and the importance of letting go of certain emotions that um, will not help me to manifest the things that I want to manifest, and had to let go of jealousy, criticizing, um, anger, resentment, hate. A lot of emotions I had to work through in my life, in order to become the type of person that I wanted to have in my life, which was one of my affirmations. So through the years, I have used affirmations, and again, I use them every day because I do know how powerful they are. Now, today I use affirmations on my job. So there's a lot that has been going on with me. I had a radio show. I had my own business. I was in school for my doctoral degree in clinical coaching. And I lost a couple of contracts with my business, and I just became overwhelmed. Didn't realize how demanding the doctoral degree would be, that program. And I began to experience some health issues, and because I had lost these contracts, and I had hired someone who was like a scout for me. Um, and, I lost that person, and I ended up having to go back to work for other people. And so these were some major changes taking place in my life to the point that I was just overwhelmed. And I had to put the radio down. I even had to put the business down for a while and refocus on this new normal that I had developed in my life. Needed to focus on my health and developing a normalcy, a stability, a normalcy, an acceptance in what was going on in my life. And so 2 years later, I am about to restart my radio show, and I am so very excited. And I have some new affirmations that I am affirming in my life, and just feeling really positive about what my future looks like going forward. Now, one of the reasons why I continue to use affirmations in my life is because they help me to feel good. They help me to feel more confident about my abilities. They remind me that God is my source and that when I give my problems, my concerns, and even my ambitions, my hopes, my desires for my future, when I give them to my higher power, uh, and I trust that God, the universe, has got my back, then I can just allow the miracles to begin to happen. I can just let go and let God. So I also use affirmations because, yeah, they just make me feel better. That's my bottom line. Now there are other people that I listen to who help me to stay positive, who help me to stay focused, and they are Justin of You Are Creators on YouTube. I listen to Joseph Murphy, Miracle Power, Neville Goddard. He has so many different writings and talks that he gave when he was living that are still relevant today. And Reverend Ike, I love his material. And I can remember when I was a little girl, I would hear people say things like, that Reverend Ike, he is no good. He is a pimp. He just trying to get people's money. And oh my God, if I had known that he was as powerful of a person in his life that he was, I would have been listening to him so much sooner because he has helped so many people get out of a poverty mentality and to materialize wealth in their life. So these are just some of the people that I listen to on YouTube. And, I go onto Instagram and I Facebook some of my friends and, Facebook friends that um, I've developed throughout the years. I've got a lot of people in my life who are positive and who spread positivity. And that helps me to reinforce that's what I want in my life. Now I want to say something about affirmations. An affirmation is a positive thought that I say to myself over and over again, and to make it become a reality. Affirmations can be negative as well as positive. Because of that reason, we have to be very mindful and ask ourselves the question, am I affirming things that I want in my life, or am I affirming things that I don't want in my life? Am I being negative? Am I criticizing myself and others? Am I always um, speaking negative words? Am I always talking on illness, or what is my thinking process? Am I loving myself? Am I taking care of myself? Am I praying for others? Am I doing things to help not only myself but other people? What fruits am I bearing in my life? What am I doing? Because what my thinking is, my thought process is going to have everything to do with my feelings, how I feel. And how I feel is going to have everything to do with what I materialize in my life. That is a good measure to determine what's how you're thinking, and if you're thinking positively, by looking at the fruits of what's actually going on in your life. And if there are things going on in your life that you don't like, whether it's relationships, whether it's your health, whether it's a career situation, it doesn't matter. You can change your thinking that will allow you to change your life. It's not magic. It's very scientific, and it's very practical. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I do in order to be positive in my life. And affirmations are one of those biggies that I use on a regular, ongoing basis. Oh, so again, I just wanted to share with you. I'm going to be coming to you with some topics, some great topics, and please comment and let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what comments you'd like or what topics you'd like to hear about. I am Katrina Jones, Prosperity Life Coach of Satari Self Care Institute, blessing you with peace, love, and all the good life has to offer.
Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with Mr. In Between.